I'd like to call the meeting of the Urbana City Council to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Ammons. Mr. Brown.
Here.
Mr. Jacobson. Mr. Madigan.
Here.
Ms. Marlin.
Here.
Mr. Roberts. Mr. Smythe.
Here.
Mayor Pressing.
Here. First item is the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting, September 21st, 2015.
Second.
Motion by Smythe, seconded by Brown. Any discussion? Additions or corrections? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Are there any additions to the agenda? Okay, this is not an addition, this is only a clarification. Okay, petitions and communications. I think we have Bishop King James and Reverend Dr. Evelyn Underwood, who do not wish to speak, but they are continuingly concerned about the Dr. Ellis subdivision sewer problem. We have Spencer Hadery. Update from the Illinois Student Senate.
Hi, everyone. There is something that the Illinois Student Senate wanted me to bring up to you, and that is we are kicking off our homecoming week coming up pretty soon. And we're actually beginning that with a 5K that we're holding on October 18th at 9 o'clock a.m. And all the information can be found at homecoming.illinois.edu. And we're hoping to involve as much of the community as possible, so we'd love it if you all could attend, and we'd really appreciate it if you could help us get the word out. And that's it.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to address the Urbana City Council? It looks like someone is being motioned forward. Is that correct?
I thought he wanted to say something.
Okay.
I guess he doesn't.
Perhaps another time. Would you like to talk to the Urbana City Council? Okay, just please state your name.
My name's Amir Ammons, and I wanted to talk about like the street policies. Like, it's more about horses. So can you ride a horse down just anywhere in the streets, or is that not allowed?
Well, that's a very good question. I don't know the answer to that. I know that Urbana used to have chickens and goats and everything running around. We'll still allow chickens, but I haven't seen any goats recently. So we will have to get back to you on that.
I motion approval of horses to ride down.
I think that needs further study.
That's right. It has to be on the agenda before we can act on it, but that's a good question, and I know you like horses, so we will check it out for you.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah,
They need
right.
front and rear lights. Okay.
That's right.
I did have something also. I wanted to
Okay, Aaron would like to say something.
So, many of you are aware of the passing of Carol's mom, and we just wanted to say, Carol and I wanted to thank all of you for your heartfelt cards, condolences, prayers, and all the other forms of support that we received from everyone. It's meant a lot to us. It has been and will continue to be a very tough time for us, but with the support of our community and many of the colleagues that we have here, it's made things a lot easier. And we just wanted to thank everyone for all of your support. It's meant a lot to our family. So I just wanted to say publicly, thank all of you for your support.
Okay. Unfinished business, I don't think we have any that we're going to act on tonight, so we'll move on to reports of standing committees. Is that Charlie?
Yes.
Oh, okay, Charlie.
You wanna
Sorry
do the-
about that. I need to do a couple of proclamations here.
First, yes.
Okay. Sorry to forget this, but we have 2 proclamations, and the first one is about International Walk and Roll to School Day. Whereas hundreds of children's lives could be saved each year if communities made pedestrian safety a priority, and whereas a lack of physical activity is contributing to the rising rates of obesity, diabetes, and other health problems among children, and whereas driving students to school by private vehicle contributes to traffic congestion and air pollution, and whereas parents and caregivers can teach children about pedestrian safety and become aware of the difficulties and dangers that children face on their trip to school each day, and whereas community members and leaders can plan to make immediate changes to enable children to safely walk and bicycle in our communities, and whereas children, parents, schools, and community leaders around the world will be walking to school and raising awareness about walking and bicycling conditions in their communities. Now, therefore, I, Laurel Lunt Pressing, Mayor of the City of Urbana, do hereby proclaim October 7th, 2015, as International Walk and Roll to School Day, and encourage everyone to consider the safety and health of children today and every day.
While the mayor is giving the proclamation to Cynthia Hoyle, I'll just remind everybody, if you haven't already seen it, the bikesafetyquiz.com is an Illinois-centric place where you can learn bicycle laws as well as vehicle-bicycle interaction. So there's a quiz for motorists, a quiz for adult bicyclists, and for child bicyclists as well. So I know something that this is, we keep pushing, and it's very helpful, and I intend to be passing these cards out as part of Walk and Roll to School Day on Wednesday.
Okay, now we have a word from our proclamation person.
Thank you. I'm Cynthia Hoyle. I live at 2207 South Cottage Grove here in Urbana, and I chair CU Safe Routes to School project, which is something that we have been able to do in Urbana thanks to the partnership with city and a lot of support from the officials and staff. So I want to thank everyone who has been helping us with this event. We have all 6 of our elementary schools have planned some sort of an event for Wednesday. It's a great opportunity for us to be out there with the kids, let them know how important it is to us that they can walk and bike to school safely. You may have noticed a couple of weeks ago the Surgeon General came out and was trying to encourage Americans to at least take a 20-minute walk every day. That's about the amount of time a lot of kids would spend walking back and forth to school. So it's an important way for us to teach lifelong skills to them of how to be active on a daily basis, and having the support of, we call you our celebrities. They think you're very, very important celebrities when you come to their school and attend their events, and I appreciate all of the help that you have provided for our event.
Well, I want to thank you, Cynthia, for all the years you've put in to make this be
Thanks.
a bicycle-friendly community. And I think we skipped silver. We went from bronze to gold, right?
Yes, we did, which was quite an accomplishment. And the quiz that Charlie's referring to, teachers can also use that in a classroom, and they can then have their students take the quiz and have it be part of a classroom for-credit activity. And it's a really helpful tool. The city also has a ticket diversion program, for those who are not aware of it, that provides that people who get a ticket while bicycling can take the exam and get a large part of the ticket waived the first time that that happens. So it's an educational tool that the city has made really good use of, and it's a really good program, because the law enforcement community was hesitant to give tickets to college students because their parents' car insurance rates would go up, and they weren't very happy when they had a huge increase in their car insurance because their kid ran a stop sign and got a ticket. So this gave us a great way to help enforce and educate in the community in a way that everybody feels is productive.
Okay. Charlie?
I'll just add to that. You should all be getting some invitations to the Illinois Bike Summit towards the end of the month. I think is it Wednesday, October 28th? And there are some activities around that. We have several visitors coming. One in particular is going to talk about the economic benefits of bike trails. specifically with respect to the Kickapoo Rail Trail, and then another individual who's going to be in town looking at our bike infrastructure and stuff, Steve Clark, with the
League of American Bicyclists.
Okay, he is with League of American Bicyclists.
Yes.
And during that, we'll probably celebrate our gold level bicycle-friendly achievement, which was awarded. We're the first city in the state to
Yes.
have gold level status.
I take a lot of joy in rubbing that in with the people I know in Chicago because they've really been working hard and we beat them. So I think that's quite an accomplishment for the city of Urbana. We should be really proud of that.
And a lot of that comes from the partnerships that we've had with MTD, with Safe Routes to School and so on, the police department with this enforcement program, the education programs that go side by side with that, all add up to what, along with the great infrastructure that we're
yeah.
developing, thanks to Public Works and CD, everybody that's involved everybody's involved in helping this program out and getting us there. So, and it showed up
Yeah.
with that award.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much.
Where is the bike summit?
Okay, I have another proclamation, and that is Tutor Appreciation Week. Whereas the National Tutoring Association, a membership organization of tutors, established National Tutor Appreciation Week a decade ago to celebrate the contributions of tutors and tutoring programs to make students' lives, and I think that means to make student lives better. And whereas University of Illinois tutoring programs and learning centers will be celebrating for the first time during the week of October 5th through 11th, 2015, and whereas hundreds of university students and other tutors on campus and throughout the community at local schools and after-school programs and for adult literacy programs will be involved. Now, therefore, we, Laurel Lunt Pressing, the mayor of the city of Urbana, and Deborah Frank Finan, mayor of the city of Champaign, do hereby proclaim the week of October 5th through 11th, 2015 as Tutor Appreciation Week in the cities of Urbana and Champaign. So we thank the university students for all the help that they do. Aaron.
One of the things that Amir actually wanted to ask about that we talked about some few days ago is the Kickapoo Rail Trails. Would horses be allowed on the rail trail?
I don't know if they would, but that's a question that we can get answered.
I just thought I'd put it out there. I mean, trying to encourage other young people to get involved, and they have their own passions and things that they're concerned about. I don't think any of us thought about whether or not horses could be on the rail trail because I don't think about horses like that, right? But I thought it was a good question when it was raised because he'd like to take a nice trail ride all the way to Danville, too.
Okay. All right.
On a horse. Yeah.
We will find out. Charlie, you want to do the committee?
Yeah, I was going to also answer that question, which is in some places they do allow it, but they have to be off the bicycle trail itself because the horse's hooves damage the limestone trail. So it all depends on whether they build in the infrastructure. That is really a question for the Forest Preserve District, who owns the right-of-way. So, but I'll try to remember to contact them tomorrow. But I have seen it done in Wisconsin where they literally make extra space for horses in some locations and designate it that. You have to be careful as a bicyclist when around horses. Horses have the right-of-way. They have the right-of-way for pedestrians as well, which is an interesting
Do
thing.
not argue with a horse.
Right, yes, exactly. And, you know, the trail is also, you know, when it snows, it's great for snowmobiling, which they also do in Wisconsin.
But we should remember that these trails were originally horse trails, correct? Abraham Lincoln drove his wagon
Well,
with a horse.
The roads.
Well, the
were-
route, the route,
the
the
road,
route.
the road routes.
Yeah.
The road routes are
Yeah.
horse trails. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
From last week's committee of the whole, item number 1, ordinance number 2015-9-101, an ordinance approving amendment number 1 to an agreement for use of right-of-way with Metro Communications Company Incorporated. For the committee, I so move.
Motion by Smythe, seconded by Ammons. Any discussion? All those in favor? No, I think I need a roll call here. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Ammons?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Ms. Marlin?
Yes.
Mr. Smythe, I'm
Yes.
sorry.
That motion carries.
Okay, next up is ordinance number 2015-9-102, an ordinance revising the fiscal year 2015-2016 annual budget, rebudgets, and other miscellaneous items. For the committee, I so move.
Second.
Motion by Smythe, seconded by Marlin. Any discussion? Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Ammons?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Ms. Marlin?
Yes.
Mr. Smythe?
Yes. And the mayor.
I think you.
Mayor Pressing?
Yes.
Okay.
That motion carries.
We need 6 votes.
You're
Next
welcome.
up, resolution number 2015-953R, resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Champaign for mobile meter sub-licensing. For the committee, I so move.
Second.
Motion by Smythe, seconded by Ammons. Any discussion? Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Ammons?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Ms. Marlin?
Yes.
Mr. Smythe?
Yes.
That motion carries.
Next, resolution number 2015-954R, a resolution approving an agreement with Passport Parking Incorporated to provide for parking fee payment by cell phone. For the committee, I so move.
Second.
Motion by Smythe, seconded by Ammons. Any discussion? Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Mr. Ammons?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Ms. Marlin?
Yes.
Mr. Smythe?
Yes.
That motion carries.
Item E, resolution number 2015-955R, a resolution approving amendment numbers 1 and 2 to an intergovernmental agreement with the Illinois Office of the Comptroller, the Local Debt Recovery Program. For the committee, I so move.
Second.
Motion by Smythe, seconded by Marlin. Any discussion? Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Ammons?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Ms. Marlin?
Yes.
Mr. Smythe?
Yes.
That motion carries.
Item F, resolution number 2015-956R, a resolution approving and authorizing entering into an agreement, and executing a second amendment to intergovernmental agreement for fire protection services, authorizing the entering into and execution of a second amendment to intergovernmental agreement between the City of Urbana, City of Champaign, and the University of Illinois for fire protection services, non-personnel costs. For the committee, I so move.
Second.
Motion by Smythe, seconded by Marlin. Any discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Ammons.
I just wanted to ask, when you say non-personnel costs, does that mean that there's no impact on, what does that mean exactly?
We have MetCAD costs that we believe the university hasn't been paying the full amount because the original contract had a factor that was supposed to be voted on by the legislature every year, and they haven't done it for a few years, so that hasn't changed, and it should have been increasing. So we're revising this. This has been worked out by Chief Neitlinger with the university.
So this wouldn't have anything, okay, that's better, thank you.
Bill?
I think it was my understanding that it was not increased over time, like the way it should have been through inflation. So this is basically applying a measure of inflation to the increase. I don't think it actually takes care of the MetCAD problem.
Well, that was one of the things that was left out, but I think that we do have some further work to do.
Okay.
Any other questions or discussion? Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Ammons?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Ms. Marlin?
Yes.
Mr. Smythe?
Yes.
That motion carries.
And the last item is ordinance number 2015-9-103, an ordinance amending Urbana City Code, Chapter 3, Section 343, increasing the number of Class BB liquor licenses for Sipyard LLC at 206 West Main. For the committee, I so move.
Second.
Motion by Smythe, seconded by Ammons. Any discussion? Oh, yes. Mr. Madigan.
State law requires me to recuse myself.
We will follow state law. Thank you. Okay. If there are no questions, would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Ammons?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Marlin?
Yes.
Mr. Smythe?
Yes.
That motion carries. Thank you, Charlie. Reports of special committees, I don't believe we have any. Reports of officers? Libby?
I have a few reports for you tonight. I'd like to start by bringing to your attention this magazine, Central Illinois Business, and this is the 40 Under 40 issue for 2015, and our very own Brandon Boys is featured in here and will be recognized this Thursday at their luncheon. So I'll just pass this around and tag his description and a thank you ad that we placed in the magazine, and I was happy to see that Brandon's cat got a shout out. He's probably the only 40 under 40 whose cat is mentioned, so very proud of Brandon. Also, I wanted to mention that Kelly Murkowski last week attended with a number of staff and officials from the city of Champaign the 29th Annual Regional Neighborhood Network Conference in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Particular reason for the visit is Champaign and Urbana together will be hosting this multi-state conference next November. So there's a lot of interest, and they kind of gave a preview of the community. There's a lot of interest by these neighborhood networks, neighborhood groups, and other people who work in neighborhood revitalization and coming to Urbana and Champaign, and a lot of suggestions about conference topics, things I'd like to learn about here. So I'd like to invite council members to get involved in the conference planning and to give suggestions on conference topics that you'd like to see. I know they were particularly interested in our Sister City program. So I've got one copy of the program. I'll just pass this around, and we'll be giving updates as we get closer to November. Also, grants management will be conducting our fall neighborhood cleanup on October 24th, and we're working on the postcard notification for residents in the 2 target areas. We'll have 2 sites, again, one in across from King's School on Fairview, and one across from Dart on that's Main Street. So one for North Urbana, one for East Urbana. Moving on to the economic development report for September. A lot of activity in September, a busy time of year with businesses. We did see Area Records in the downtown close but reopen as Urbana CU, CD, and Vinyl. And I think that you may also at 123 West Main have noticed the new facade painting and signage on that building. Also downtown, there was a portion of the Pygmalion Conference held there, Pygmalion Festival, and the Technology Conference. They held a tech crawl in downtown on September 24th. They had open houses of tech company offices, including Pixo, Pale Gray Labs, Personify, and CoLab, and they had 2 panel discussions in the Sipyard space, including one on big broadband. It's very, very interesting. I saw several of you there, as well as numerous musical performances at Cafeteria and Company, Silver Creek, the Airing Post, and Rose Bowl. Also opening downtown is a shared space by Lumen Events and Single Stereo Graphic Design, and Lumen Events is specializing in special events, including some upcoming homecoming festivities at the high school. Other items of note, the demolition of the former Hanford Inn is complete. It's quite a milestone for the city, and marketing of the property is underway. The now owner has hired a broker to represent the property. So that was a long time coming, great accomplishment for the city, and of course, very developable site on Cunningham Avenue, just north of the interstate. A new personal fitness gym has opened at the Pines at Stone Creek Commons. Studio Vita, a personal fitness gym. We had a very successful Urbana Art Expo, September 13th at the Urbana Civic Center. Several hundred persons attended, and the quality of the art was just fantastic. I thought it was quite a great event. I'd like to thank Pauline Tanos and 40 North and the Public Arts Commission for their work on that. Pauline Tanos will be on a short leave of absence, awaiting her work permission to be cleared, and so we have a new public arts intern, Sarah Brody, who is filling in Pauline's absence. The food truck rally has been extended. We had 2 more events scheduled, September 29th, and the next and final one for the season will be October 27th. That's Tuesday at lunchtime. We had a fundraiser for the Link Up program at the Market at the Square, and we'll also be, let's see, okay, yeah, there's the Illinois Farmers Market Association statewide conference, but I think that's elsewhere in the state. And I know that for Urbana Business Association, they are getting close to hiring a new executive director. So any questions on the reports?
Any questions for Libby?
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Aaron has a question.
So how do we determine the success of Pygmalion for downtown Urbana is one, or just for the city of Urbana? How would we gauge that?
I think we could look at attendees that night and receipts, sales tax. I know there were several events in the Granite area as well, but just in downtown, I was able to attend that portion of the Tech Fest, and the music and all the restaurants were full, and it was really, really lively.
Good.
So I think that's something that could be tangible with tax receipts, but I think it's a liveliness that's probably the best benefit, and it was really a great discussion to have. Plus, I think it marks us as being a bit of an innovation hub here and hosting a number of tech companies that were participating.
Thank you.
I have a report. Are you finished, Libby? Last week I went to Washington, D.C. I was invited to, with some other mayors and civic groups, to meet with Senator Elizabeth Warren, who's been very active in trying to help people who have their mortgages underwater and get the federal government to let not-for-profits buy these mortgages so people can stay in their home rather than having speculators buy them. So we met with some HUD officials, and the head of the agency that we met with was a graduate of the University of Illinois, so that was very nice. And it was a very worthwhile meeting, and I think we had people who had experienced this, and they said, you know, if you lose your home, it's not a recession, it's a depression. And I think it was very good for the people at these agencies to hear from a wide range of people. And there had been a resolution passed by the U.S. Conference of Mayors. I was one of the signatories, so there were some mayors that went there. So that was very good. And I've also handed out discussion about the METCAD problems that we've had, and I'll give you a chance to read it, and please give me a call if you have any questions. I'd be happy to try to answer them. But basically, we are in a very unsustainable situation, and while the overall METCAD billings were going up by 16%, last year ours was increased by 28%, which is why I asked that the increase be spread out over 5 years. So we have been looking at these formulas, and we think that Urbana has been overcharged in some cases, and we want to come up with some kind of reasonable solution. But all this pales in comparison to what's really going on. The state is no longer even paying the portion that is billed to cell phones, 67 cents. The overall thing's supposed to go up for cell phones to 87 cents, but it's going to drop from $1.50 to 87 cents for landlines. There is a commission that's looking at this for 2 years, and I think that local governments are just going to have to work together in a coalition. Our coalition on the Muhammad Aquifer was very successful, and I'm working with the Illinois Sheriff's Association, the Illinois Municipal League, and trying to get police chiefs and counties all to work together so that the state will start actually using the State Mandates Act. That was passed in the 1980s, and the idea was that if the state asks the local governments to do more, they should provide the funding. And that law has been overwhelmingly honored in the breach. Every time there's a new proposal to add more work to local governments, they exempt the State Mandates Act. So this is something that we're all going to have to work together on, and I hope we can get something done, and I certainly am looking forward to the state of Illinois having a budget. Anybody have any questions for me? Okay, we will move on to new business, ordinance number 2015-10-104, an ordinance amending the Urbana City Code, Chapter 3, Section 3-43, increasing the number of Class CA2 liquor licenses for Lumen Incorporated. So this is something that was brought to you just, for your information at the committee meeting, but here it is.
Move approval.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
state law requires me to recuse myself.
Yes, that is good. Okay, so we have a motion by Charlie. Is there a second?
I'll second, and there's one correction.
Okay.
In the second whereas, it refers to the number of Class BB liquor licenses, and that
Okay.
should be
Yep.
Class
CA.
Good
CA2.
catch. Good
Ooh.
catch.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Okay, motion by Smythe, seconded by Marlin. All those in, no, would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Ammons?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Marlin?
Yes.
Mr. Smythe?
Yes.
That motion carries. Next, resolution number 2015-10-057R, a resolution in support of improved legislation to protect drinking water. We went through this last week. It's basically that the consent decree is not the end of our efforts to protect the Muhammad Aquifer. It is only a first step, and we realize there are new laws that need to be passed, and we also have to have better enforcement of our laws. Charlie?
I have a question for Jim. Do we technically have to add this? We have a motion, we have a...
It's under new business.
I know it's under new business, but we also have a resolution on resolutions where they have to be approved for inclusion when they're not coming from committee. Correct me if I'm wrong, Phyllis. Don't we have an ordinance that requires a supermajority to put this on the agenda for a vote?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so I move that we, since this was discussion item and not an official committee action last week to send it here, I move that we put this on the agenda for approval. Or put this on the agenda for a vote. Just to make everything correct.
Second.
Okay, motion by Smythe, seconded by Marlin. Is that a roll call, Madam Clerk? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Okay, so now I'll...
That carries, so it's on the agenda.
So I'll move approval of Resolution 2015-1057R, a resolution in support of improved legislation to protect drinking water.
Second.
Okay, motion by Smythe, seconded by Ammons. Any discussion? Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Ammons?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Ms. Marlin?
Yes.
Mr. Smythe?
Yes.
That motion carries. Now, I do have one appointment to the Urbana Free Library, and the individual is Michael Weissman, and I would say that on the agenda, his name is missing one of the S's. So I think you have it correctly on my letter.
Move approval.
Okay, motion by Smythe,
Second?
seconded by Madigan. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Mr. Ammons.
Just wanted to freeze everybody for a minute. I wanted to just ask a question about who would I talk to about the ticket diversion program? How was that orchestrated, Charlie? Because I was just wondering if there were possible ways for ticket diversion programs for other things also. So I wanted to, there are financial concerns that other folks have as well.
Yeah, I know the bicycle one was an idea that came from the police department. They were working with the university and with Champaign, as Cynthia alluded to earlier. There was some desire to try to do an enforcement program that wouldn't have an immediate impact on
On the students and their parents.
Parents' insurance rates. And so I'm not sure where exactly it originated, and the bike safety quiz came in, and it's been too long since I remember the details of who was, I don't know whether Sylvia knows the answer to that or not. How the bike safety quiz and the diversion program came to be, the bike safety quiz used as the diversion tool came about.
Sure.
And I think at the same time that there are other diversion programs for vehicular tickets, and Assistant Chief of Police is probably more appropriate. Deputy Chief of Police now, yes.
Yes.
Right, yes.
So the diversion program for the bicycles is for city ordinance violations. And as far as a long history of how that all came to be, I'm not sure that I'll be able to answer to all of that, other than what Charlie's already spoken to, which was the need to educate the people that were making the violations and get them, to be more safe. And so to educate them and entice them with the education by lowering the fine. As far as other tickets, are you speaking about like other types of IVC violations for vehicle code violations and things like that?
Well, it wasn't specifically vehicle. I'm just thinking about the program itself. It was the first I had heard of it, and that the rationale was basically to save money.
Right.
And so it strikes a chord with me because we have other issues around money being saved or people paying tickets and all kind of different things. So whether it's marijuana possession or whatever it may be, that are in a different bracket, income bracket, and all that kind of stuff. And so I was just wondering if something existed like that where tickets could be diverted for different things as well.
For city ordinance violations, right? Yeah, not that I'm aware of. There aren't any other diversion programs or any
And
other
that's why I was trying to
mechanisms
see
to
who I
reduce
would work with to get something like that.
I assume the legal department, right, Jim? I would assume, that we need to work with the legal department to come up with anything else like that.
Well, we do have the IDOT Study Commission, and I think that's one of the issues is affordability of fines. So I don't know we haven't gotten their report yet, but certainly that's been discussed. And I think it's something that we're going to take up, the whole criminal justice system. Libby?
Just on the background of that program, it did come out of working with the university, and it was really part of our bicycle-friendly designation. So a former planner, Rebecca Bird, had developed the curriculum, and it was more of an educational. I had not heard the insurance argument until tonight. We were really concerned about educating the bike riders, and that's what gets you over in the levels of bicycle friendliness, and it's something the university was very interested in. So that's how it was developed. We had some classes taught, certified instructors, Rebecca, Cynthia, some others, and we found a way to offer it through the schools. So I think that was the purpose that I knew about.
Bill?
So did that come about through a council action, or was that administratively done?
Administrative.
We also do giving away free bicycle lights, right?
Oh, there was an ordinance. Okay. Yeah.
There's an ordinance, too.
Yeah.
We passed an ordinance.
We
do
go
give
out
a-
of our way, right?
We do. We do give away free bikes about twice a year from.
But-
Is that what you're talking
I was
about?
I was
Oh,
talking
the-
about lights.
Oh, lights for their
Yeah,
bikes?
yeah.
Yes.
We give away free lights because we want people to be safe.
Yes.
What else can we do for people? We're here. Okay. Lower their taxes. We try that too. All right. If there's no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.